So I will admit the title is a little bit disingenuous because yes, there is a decent group of people on the left that just outright hate men, men, especially straight white men. But regardless, I think this video is still important because the growing perception online is that the left hates men, and I just don't think that's true. I think a lot of people who believe that have been misled, given into propaganda, or just hyperfixate on the small group of people on the left that do actually hate men. Because of course, there are people on the left that just flat out hate men. There are people on the right that are just flat out Nazis, but that doesn't make everyone on the right a Nazi, does it? Exactly. So in this video, I'm going to try to make the case for why the left really doesn't hate men, why young men aren't under attack from the left, and I'm going to be doing that by reacting to this guy's video because there's a lot of nonsense and a lot of stuff I disagree with. So let's just get into it. There's no point in just yapping anymore. I'm just gonna roll the video.
That's right, man, especially you young men who, according to the predominant cultural narrative, have simultaneously pulled off being fat, lazy, stupid, worthless, unambitious incels that no one needs, while at the same time somehow managing to all carefully work together in order to ensure the ascendancy of an oppressive patriarchal system which works to thwart the best efforts of noble progressive feminist leaders. That's what young men are being told. And young men have now undergone a decades-long assault on just about anything masculine. Because after all, masculinity, or more specifically, the ill-defined concept of toxic masculinity, has become the go-to excuse for all the injustices of the past, present, and almost certainly the future.
So right off the bat, this guy is already misleading you. He tries to rope masculinity as a whole into the term toxic masculinity, and this is not true. The definition of toxic masculinity is a lot different than just being masculine. I mean, it's in the definition itself. Toxic masculinity isn't just bad or toxic because it hurts women or hurts the feminist movement. It hurts men. A lot of men will bring up the suicide rates, the mental health rates. It disproportionately affects men way more than women. The whole reason toxic masculinity is bad is because it reinforces negative stereotypes. You don't have to hide your emotions or never speak about your emotions, and you're not a pussy or a bitch for crying a little bit. Now, this doesn't mean you have to let your emotions control you and you should be crying all the time when you're sad. No, you don't have to. But holding your emotions in, not letting that out, not letting how you're feeling out, maybe not even crying. And also, not crying will harm you mentally, physically. It'll tire you out. It'll make you more depressed. Toxic masculinity is also just being uncomfortable or insecure about your own sexuality. If someone calls you gay and you as a straight man get mad at that and get super defensive, that's just fucking embarrassing. You shouldn't have to defend yourself like a fucking defense attorney in order to prove you're not gay. Even if someone thinks you're gay, who the fuck cares, man? Who cares? Let it be. Let it be. Toxic masculinity is not about ending masculinity. You can be masculine still. It's not toxic masculinity to occasionally hold your emotions in or not always talk about your emotions. It's not toxic masculinity to like more masculine things like hunting or going to the gym or playing football. Those aren't toxic. If they were, then I would have toxic masculinity. I don't. Toxic masculinity is you don't talk about your emotions at all. You don't have to talk about them all the time. You don't have to cry, but it is important to not keep them buried within you. Toxic masculinity is also being insecure about your sexuality. If you don't want to wear something because you think you'll look gay, you're just a fucking loser. Wear what you want. Who cares what other people think? If you're scared to wear something because you think it might make you look gay, you're letting your masculine stereotypes control you in a way that stops you from doing things that you want to do. That's what toxic masculinity is.
If you're an 18-year-old man, you have no doubt been subjected to a litany of struggle sessions posing as education, where you are informed that the future is female. And if you would just recognize and abandon the toxicity of your masculinity, then the ladies can start to rebuild society without you. But here's the thing. We currently live in what is arguably the most feminist version of society to ever exist. So why are we acting as if nothing has changed since the Neanderthals? And to prove this point, let's look at 3 categories that we use to measure progress within society. Education, Our entire modern education system seems to cater to girls far more than it does boys. Boys are often treated as defective girls in the classroom. In fact, they're drugged at increasingly higher rates in order to accommodate the system. When it comes to higher education, 57.3% of the students are female. When it gets into post-secondary students, 57.9% are female. There's no doubt that higher ed caters more to women. There are between 2,000 to 3,000 distinct scholarships prioritizing women within our higher education system.
So this guy's take is pretty inaccurate and disingenuous once again. Yes, it's true. There are more women in higher education, in college, graduate schools than men, but that doesn't mean these are targeted towards women. A lot of it is societal standards. How many degrees are considered masculine or manly? Besides business, finance, economics, society has given standards to what is considered masculine and feminine in our education system. You'll barely ever see a man go into college for nursing because they'll be called gay. Like literally, that's literally a reason. And it is also pretty disingenuous to complain about women getting so many more scholarships targeted towards them than men because that's not necessarily true. Military college programs, ROTC, those things predominantly are targeted towards men. Athletic scholarships are targeted towards men. Men are more likely to go into the trades instead of college as well. Why? Because it's seen as a more masculine thing. A lot of kids' dads were in the trades, that sort of thing. So they're like, I'm gonna do that. That's the quote unquote manly, masculine thing to do. And I do think this goes back to the patriarchy, in all honesty. The patriarchy, which obviously disproportionately hurt women, also hurts men. It puts unfair standards on men. And I know that sounds crazy, especially if you are on the left watching this video, but just hear me out. Men have unfair standards. From the patriarchy, the men are supposed to be the providers, single worker, the only one bringing in real income, providing for a family. They're also supposed to have children, their own home. Like, that is unfair standards which hurts men. The difference, of course, is that this societal standard can easily go away because men are in control of the patriarchy. We just have to Men need to understand that it's okay to not own a home. It's okay to not have a family and a wife and be able to provide for your wife without her having another job. You don't have to be the sole provider for your family. That's okay. You're not feminine for not being able to provide for your family completely on your own.
How about economics? Well, while there's a lot of talk about the gender pay gap, the problem is that when you actually look at the numbers, no, women are not being paid 75 cents on the dollar. In fact, the only way you can even get to numbers like that is if you take everyone working full time, regardless of their occupation, and then compare salaries. In fact, it turns out when you actually account for things that matter, the pay gap gets reduced to just about nothing. And when we compare other factors, in some cases, the pay gap actually reverses.
Now, look, I do kind of agree that a lot of these studies on the gender pay gap are misleading because, yeah, of course, women are going to be paid less on average than men because they are usually more likely to work part-time or just be stay-at-home mothers. But that also kind of reinforces the gender pay gap. Women in societal standards are supposed to be the caretakers or the provider for the family or stay at home and just clean up the house. So that results in them not being able to get adequate income for themselves. That's why women work more in part-time roles or just stay at home roles because society places unfair standards to where they have to be the home caretaker. And in that way, the gender pay gap is real.
So there's no question that in categories of education, workforce, politics, women have been making meteoric advances. On the whole, it seems like women should be thrilled with all of the progress that has been made socially, economically, educationally, and politically. But they're not. Young women, and more specifically, young liberal women, are actually identifying higher instances of mental health issues than ever before. And guess who's to blame? Men, the patriarchy, toxic masculinity.
And I do kind of agree with what he's saying in terms of, yes, women have been successful within the feminist movement since the 21st century. There's more representation, there's more equality. That doesn't mean that we're at a spot where we should be. Lots of women were hurt by Roe v. Wade being overturned. that is not moving in the right direction. That is not a move in the right direction. That's a pretty step back. That's a pretty big step back. It's a very significant step back. And also, society has a long way to go when you see guys like Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines being able to capture such large audiences and have so many people agree with them. Clearly, there's a lot of negative perception towards women that still needs to be addressed.
Men have had it, young men especially. And you can see the proof right here. While women are becoming far more liberal, young men are becoming far more conservative than they've ever been since we started tracking it. What's more interesting is how many on the left try to explain this phenomenon, from denying that it exists, to suggesting that it's all just about despair, to claiming that young men have just checked out, to hoping it's all temporary and not really a trend at all. But here's the reality. Progressive feminism did not just try to advance the interests of women. They made young men their enemy, and the political left went right along with it, embraced it, and even made it a core part of their messaging. And this outright animosity towards men and masculinity is palpable at all levels of society when there's never been more opportunities for women, many of which comes at the deliberate exclusion of men. And that's the sticking point. Young men have started to realize that it was never going to be enough. One more program, scholarship, economic set-aside, parade, struggle session, none of it was going to be sufficient.
And see, this right here is the problem. As I've explained in this video, the feminist movement as a whole is not out to destroy masculinity. You can be on the left and be masculine. I think I'm a decent example of that. I'm a straight white dude. I hoop all the fucking time. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm not like insanely masculine. I'm not like gonna act like my testosterone level is like 50,000. It's not even fucking possible, for the record. I don't know why the fuck I said 50,000. That's besides the point. You can be masculine and be on the left. No one has a problem with that. Sure, there's a small group of progressive feminists that maybe do just fucking hate men. Ignore them, please. Just like people on the right ignore Nazis who are on the right. They're just weird. We don't fuck with them. Sorry. The goal of feminism is to get equality, obviously, and then destroy toxic masculinity because it hurts men and women. Toxic masculinity is not just hurting women, and it's not just a buzzword. It's a real thing that hurts men. That's one of the reasons men's mental health is so low all the time. It's okay to cry occasionally. It's okay to talk to someone about how you're feeling. It's okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay to not be the single sole provider for a family of 4 and own a home by 26 years old. Like, chill, man. You're 24. You can play Xbox still. I mean, please don't play it for like 8 hours a day. If you're 24 playing Xbox for like 8 hours a day, that's probably a problem. But like, you don't have to have everything figured out. And you don't have to be mad at women for wanting equality, man. Okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, like the video then, and subscribe for more content like this. And then go outside, enjoy the weather. It's a beautiful day. You should not be inside watching this video. Like, that is bad. It's too nice of a day to be inside watching a video from a guy with 5 fucking subscribers. Maybe 7. I don't know. Around that. It might be even less than fucking 5 for all I know. I have no idea.